Hi, Julie.
Okay.
Um, how is everybody?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Did you have a good weekend?
Did, yes. Productive.
Yay.
Yeah. How did everybody do this weekend? Oh, I'm gonna give everybody a couple minutes to get their stuff to get in for the waiting room. Really wish there was a way we could shut that off, but we're not here to complain about it. Let's start some attendance. So we've got the chat up. Let's start with, well, welcome everybody to Sell Your Listings. There's a big difference between getting your listings and then selling them, right? So today we're going to go over how to sell them once you get them listed and really diving into that aspect of it. Okay. Let's start with attendance, cappers and training, right? In order to do that, we've got to get in front of people, make our contacts, and really, dive into what we want to do, right? What we want to do in front of people, tell them about the market. So we're going to start by reporting out how we did on our contacts. And let's see if I got anybody in the waiting room. Looks like we're good. Jessica, you want to start?
Yes. So I did spend a little time this morning reaching out to expireds and to no avail. I wasn't able to get connected with anybody, but I will make some more calls this evening. This past weekend, I spent quite a bit of time completing some personalized postcards and note cards and got them in the mail to my farm. And I'm continuing to write postcards. I would like to get at least 5 out every day. So at the end of the week, it's 35 that I am putting in the mail. So just staying diligent and proactive.
Okay. How many note cards did you send out?
About 7 this past weekend.
Okay. Perfect. Good. You're doing all the right things. Staying in front of people. Got Eileen is in. Okay, so I think people are gonna keep coming in. Alicia,
Hi.
hi. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. How'd we do on our contacts and adding to your database?
I added, what was it? Probably 25 people just
Hey.
that I needed to add. I mean, they're people I've already had in contact with, just been meaning to get in there. I probably added 5 new people over the weekend. I've had a couple, actually just had lunch before this call with a gal who's looking to buy in a little while. So that was fun to make a future contact for that. Yeah, I've just been sharing a lot with people, just what I'm doing, putting myself out there, kind of trying to be organic with it, since I'm still getting comfortable putting myself out there. I have a couple leads that came in this morning through a lead generation service that I'm paying for that I have to call now that I'm back to my computer. So that's what I'm going to do when we have our call time today.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Elizabeth, I saw your numbers, 7 contacts. Anything you'd like to add about your weekend?
Well, I got to go through the process with my current client of having a sewer scope. They didn't have an out. So that was really fun and weird because I was like, okay, now what do we do? And then in the moment had to think of how we were going to solve that problem and hired a toilet pole for that situation. So that was fun. And then contacts wise, I've gotten great conversations this morning on Messenger.
Okay.
So I was able to talk to 7 people. I messaged twice that many,
Got it.
but was able to conversate with 7 just in a short amount of time, just because, and then do a post and write some letters because it's just, you can do a lot at once because they're all there.
Perfect. Sounds amazing. So will you dive into what you help everybody understand what happened with the toilet?
Situation.
Yeah, the toilet
So,
situation.
Occasionally, I found out there, you normally need a sewer scope and a radon test in addition to your inspection on a property. So the sewer scope, there was no out, so they couldn't do it that way. That's normally how they do it.
So usually there's a clean out. What she's talking about is a clean out, where they go into the clean out and go down the pipe.
Yeah. So they didn't have that. So then in the moment, you can't just say, okay, well, let's take the toilet off, because they need a seller signature. They need to hire a plumber, and it's separate. So we had to reschedule that for tomorrow morning in order to have the sewer scope done. So, yeah.
Makes it fun, right?
Well, it was interesting because every situation, last time with this same client, this is basically my first client, and we already had to terminate a transaction because we've been writing they have money and they're first time home buyers. And so we're writing as is offers so that they can get, we've had all our offers accepted that we've written, which is 2. And some of them were in competition with 10 other people. And we were able to get it because we told them, we're like, so basically you're probably not going to, when you have 10 other offers, you're probably not going to get a lot fixed anyway. And we're buying houses that have been renovated already and in pretty good shape. And so if we write an as-is offer, then it gives the seller confidence to accept our offer that they're not going to have a nitpicky buyer. But if anything serious, which is what happened with the first transaction, there was no crawl space. So we got to cancel the transaction and there was no earnest money lost or anything.
Perfect. It's good. Real world experience working with a client that's
Priceless.
priceless, right? It's not only one, it's how do we move forward? Every day is a new learning experience, right? Let's go with let's see, Amanda.
So I was out of town this past weekend, just actually finalizing like the sale of our last house, kind of last things we had to do there. So I didn't really reach out to any new contacts, but I did talk to, some of the people that actually used to be our old neighbors and kind of just told them that, I'm in real estate now. And if they have anyone, in need of services, that kind of thing, to reach out to me. So I didn't, no technical new contacts or anything like that, but yeah,
Okay.
Pretty unproductive weekend, I would say, as far as adding contacts, but
Sounds like
productive in other ways.
Professionally unproductive, but personally productive.
Exactly.
And it's okay to have those. It is honest.
Gotta have that sometimes.
Yeah, listen to what I say, not what I do, is what I say. Let's go with Jeff.
I've been working on staying in touch with people on Facebook. I've went from probably 20 to 100 contacts in like a week. So I want to work on getting some email addresses and add all those people to command and start seeing them on newsletters and things like that. And still looking for open houses to host, but no luck there so far.
So right now, I'll give some advice. That's great idea. What is a good way that you could actually reach out to people on Messenger and get them to give you their email address and phone number? What's coming up?
Thanksgiving.
Christmas, Thanksgiving, right? And I'm sitting down to do my Christmas cards.
Yeah, I'd like to send you a note card or something.
Yeah, I'm sitting down to do my Christmas cards. So I'd like to have you on the list.
Yeah.
Any chance you can send me your contact information? Perfect. Great job, Jeff. Just keep getting in front of people. Let's see, Julie.
So I added a couple of contacts, and on Saturday I showed some buyers a house, and it wasn't the house for them, but I do have them on getting listings once a week and figuring out what they actually do want. Got them in touch with a lender, and then my listing that I have went pending yesterday.
Hey.
Woohoo!
Woo-hoo. Wow.
Good job.
Nice.
So
Very
next
excited.
up, Julie's going to teach today's class.
Oh no. Sorry, I have somewhere I have to be.
Nuri,
Yes.
how was your weekend?
Very busy. A
Good.
little bit productive, but not really productive. But I had a buyer. She was looking for a house from Vegas. She gave me a criteria what she's looking for. But so I went like on day before, I drove over an hour to find a house that she saw. And Sunday, we found another one. We drove another hour and 40 minutes, which is way farther than what I expected. It was cold and like miserable. I wasn't prepared. And I still had to take midterm. Last night, finished the paper. And yes, I did what I'm supposed to do. I took
You did.
videos and I gave all my information, what I have seen, what I understood, and gave everything. And then I let him know what I have done.
Perfect. Excuse me. Very good. Well done.
Thank you.
Let's go Nassim.
I co-hosted an open house on Saturday, and that was relatively busy. Unfortunately, all the buyers that came through on Saturday were already represented, so no fresh leads there. Took Sunday and went and looked at 9 different listings across Eugene, where I am, and across different price ranges, just to get a better feel for what is out there in the market currently and what people are charging. And then I have gotten in touch with, or reached out to, excuse me, probably about a dozen people today. I've only gotten responses back from a couple of them, but I just started that about an hour ago.
Perfect. Perfect. Love it. Kadi.
Hey, so I've got an exciting week coming up. This weekend I was a little bit busy. I was running a half marathon. So I didn't get too much done. But I've got 2 appointments, like coffee dates with friends. One of them is a business owner, so I want to talk with her a lot about becoming like referral partners. I'm doing headshots tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to like launching on social media. I haven't done it yet because I just want to get all my ducks in a row and then come out strong. So hopefully I'll be doing that this week, announcing on social media. And then I also have had an idea to start a Facebook group for moms who love adventure. So whether it's running or hiking or surfing, snowboarding, whatever it is. So I think I'm wanting to start that and just try to build a community of people, and try to eventually get referrals from those people. So that's what my week looks like coming up.
Very cool. Great ideas. Eileen.
Hey, here, I'll put my video on. Sorry, I was just eating lunch, so I didn't want to subject you guys to my chewing. So I had a pretty productive weekend. I visited 5 open houses, and it was really interesting to see the differences in the different neighborhoods and the price, differential. I went, I don't know, from somewhere pretty close to my house, which is a really nice house, and they had 70 people visit and 3 offers, to a house where there was nobody there, and I wouldn't have somebody live there. You know what I mean? So it was really interesting to see the broad difference in the communities, and that's helping me get to know Eugene. I mean, I get around quite a bit in the community, but not seeing different housing areas. And so that was really instructive for me. I met with another agent on Friday, and she gave me some tips on marketing. That's probably where I need to work the hardest right now, and maybe even get some help, is setting up my marketing pieces for a drip campaign for the people in my tracker and my website. And then I think I mentioned last week that I set up the business page on Facebook, but I'm posting both personal and professional stuff and trying to figure out, what I'm going to post there as well. So I need to figure out those pieces to put on my Facebook and to have ready in my drip campaign. And I'm not doing so good there. I met with 3 prospects between Friday and Sunday. One canceled on Sunday that wasn't feeling well. One of the prospects, he has a business and he wants to sell it, but he's worried about capital gains. So I thought about the 1031 exchange. I don't know how that would work for him. And I'm going to talk with another realtor about that. And then I've had a lot of traffic on my Facebook on instant messaging, so I've been trying to respond to those and just say hello to people and reconnect. Sherry and Jeff and I'm forgetting the third person. With Jessica, we have like an accountability thing. And so they helped me figure out how to change the settings on my Facebook so people could ask me to friend them. And I don't know, my setting was goofed up. So that was really helpful. We did that last night. So, lots going on. I'm also reaching out to some people through my church about starting a community for people that have aging parents and are working with that. So to kind of create a community on Facebook that I can build some clientele there and also get some personal, support. So that's what I've been up to.
Perfect. Getting out there, right?
Trying, yeah.
Let's see, Maggie.
Oh, hi everybody.
Hi.
So I ordered this postcards that say, I am your neighbor, but I'm also a real estate agent. And so I was working on putting the packages together to deliver to my neighbors so they know that I'm an active real estate broker. And I also, with support of one of my buyers, we've been having so much trouble finding a property that meets their budget that actually the buyer pointed me to a house that she loved. And I took the courage and I went and knocked on the door and I presented her with a CMA and the buyer's letter of interest to their house. So hopefully we'll hear something from there. And if not, it was just a good nervous break, getting out of my comfort and doing something for my buyers.
That is a great, that's great. You took the initiative. When we talk about who we're representing, right, in our fiduciary, your buyers led you to a house, worst thing they can do is say no.
And it's already a no anyway. So at least I opened the possibilities. And the owner was very impressed. Well, I also showed up with flowers for the audacity to knock on their door. And so she was very, very welcoming. And so I hope I hear from her today. We'll see.
Hey, Cassandra, I have a question for you. Where did you get your mail list for your neighborhood?
Do you mean like the mail list?
Do you get a mail list to do your mailing, or did you purchase that, or did you get it from a title company, or what'd you do?
No. I got some postcards from the marketplace. What is it called? They're already, let me see if I can show you how they look like. They're already pre-printed and you order them. And let me see if I can.
Was it through Command?
It is. I can put it in the comment section later.
Okay.
But
I'm just curious about you just mailed to people by using their address because they live next to you, or did you buy the list?
No, actually, half of them I already put them in the door at the door with a handwritten note.
Yeah.
So I didn't get an email, like a listing.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know how we talk about personalizing it when we get into listings and really when we personalize it, it enhances our clients' chances to get an offer, right? Same things with real estate. If you personalize it, your chances of creating a connection is a lot higher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So personal notes, love the flowers. That's great. All great. So then we just had a couple new, let's see. So that was Maggie. Cassandra. Is Cassandra not here? There we go. Was that Cassandra? That was Maggie, right?
Yeah, that was Maggie.
Okay. And Cassandra? How about Alan? Alan, I know you had a busy weekend. Tell everybody what you did.
I visited 7 open houses and I just actually posted one on my Facebook page, got permission from the guy, so it's a really cool property. And then I did a whole bunch of coffees appointments all around Portland. I was all jacked up on coffee all weekend. But it was cool. I I had like a $50 Starbucks card, which is nothing now, you know?
I have a question about that. So you went to open houses and then you posted some of the ones you liked on your Facebook page? Is that
Yeah,
what you-
well, I asked the listing agent for, you know,
Uh-huh.
if I could do it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And absolutely, Alan, that's a great idea. Get permission from the listing agent. I don't know a listing agent who's going to say no,
Right.
because you're just adding exposure.
Yeah.
So if you're out at an open house, you know, take the video of it instead of just preview it. Take the video of it,
Yeah.
send it out. Well, ask for permission from the listing agent, and then put it on your, you know, put it on your Facebook
Great
page.
idea. I love that idea because there's places you see that you really think are cool.
And then what does everybody see? Everybody sees you
Your
being
page.
active,
Right.
busy, and
So
learning.
what happens, Matt? What happens then if someone contacted him and said, "Oh, I want to see this house"?
He
takes them out.
Yeah, he gets to go show the house.
Okay, and then
Right.
he's up for the commission. Okay.
As long as they don't have an agent they're working with. I mean,
Right.
make sure there's no agent, but
Well, damn, I'm going to do that.
does that sound like
I'm
an
gonna start
easy
doing
way?
that. It sounds great. I'm going to start doing it.
Yeah, I think it's also a good way to, you know, not be a secret agent, just to
Right.
put something on your Facebook page.
Yeah.
Favorite sentence.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Don't be a secret agent.
I love it. I'm going to do it.
All right. Cassandra, you looks like you're back.
Yep. Sorry, I was in the room with my sleeping baby, so I had to mute everything.
Wow.
So I didn't get a whole lot done this weekend. We were at our cabin, so we were doing family time, but I did have business cards made and got that all approved. Those are on the way. And then I just added to my database and all that, or my data bank, and did some more of that. I'm still kind of trying to figure out the software and all the technology part. I need to do that training still, but just kind of setting everything up still.
Okay. How many contacts did you add to your database?
I had 10. I'm a hairstylist too, so I kind of try and just talk to all my clients about it too. And
For sure.
I've been getting some people that way, which is kind of convenient because I work half the day at the salon. So
Nice.
it's kind of free marketing that way.
Sure.
Nice.
But
What
yeah.
can you do for my hair?
Well, I mean, there's Rogaine, but
Mr. Beard.
you look good bald though.
All right. Is that everybody? So we learned a couple of things, right? Different ways we can reach out and be in front of people. And take these ideas and run with them. This is why we mastermind. This is why we talk. We all have different ideas, and different ideas work, right? Nassim also said I posted a live video from my open this week as well.
That's
Perfect.
great.
And so basically going through as we keep learning and keep growing, how many people feel overwhelmed?
No doubt.
No doubt. I didn't
Yeah.
see a whole lot of hands went up.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you can, please turn on your video. I like to put a name with the face and all of that good stuff. So we've got the report out. So now we're gonna have a little bit of fun. Time to pull out your phones and text 5 people for appointments. We're gonna do that again. How'd it go last week? Anybody want to give some feedback on it?
It was good. I think when we did it last week, a lot of us got feedback right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I did it, I got confirmation that my one of my family members is thinking about putting her house on the market. So she was like, "Yeah, I'll reach out to you when I'm ready. You know, maybe a couple months down the road." So, so yeah, I think it's good just to touch base with people and don't
Well,
even know that they're getting ready to move.
let's do it again. Let's shoot out a text for 5 to 7 people that you're thinking about, and we'll go from there. Okay.
How much time do we have?
I'll give you a little bit of time.
Okay.
Matt, I have a question.
Yes.
I never been to open house. I really want to go to see it, how they do. What do I need? Do I just go there and start looking at?
On an open house?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. If it's an open house, you want to follow the protocols of COVID. If there's people in the house, you want to, wait your turn depending on how busy it is. But yeah, you definitely just walk in, introduce yourself, tell them you're previewing it for potential buyers, and start dialogue. Ask them questions. Okay. Take a look at it. Videotape it if you want, if you can. Ask permission if the open house host is there to be able to videotape and preview for your clients.
And how do I know where is open house is holding? How?
Internet. So once you get access to the RMLS, they all show up and tell you what's open and what's not on all the properties. It'll have every open house in there, and it'll say open house 12 to 3 Saturday, 1 to 4 on Sunday.
So I have every Friday I'm have meeting with you so that I can ask you how to get to RMLS on Friday, right?
Yep. We'll go over that on Friday.
Cool. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so some feedback. I got 2 appointments out of it, was able to practice a CMA on a friend and got more comfortable with that process. Very cool.
Smart.
Love it. I can already see bonds being built, Facebook pages and all of that. Alicia says this, if anybody needs help over in Central Oregon, let her know. Very cool.
Matt, what was the name of the agent that was on with us? I think you hosted it. There was maybe not. Might have been Chris Suarez, and there were 3 gals, and one of them has a cabin outside of Portland, and she sells that area now. They moved out there with and just stayed at the house. They're not living in Portland anymore, and she sells like that whole corridor.
Oh, up in Brightwood. Yeah.
Where Rhodey is and all these areas and stuff. So do you remember who that was? I can get it from my notes if you don't remember.
I was going to say, get it from it's not Heather. Heather was at the Gorge. Who's the other one? Oh, did it start with an M?
I don't think so. It's okay. I can look her up.
Okay.
I need to reach out to her because a friend that wants to look at houses out there and I don't know the area. So she'd be much more helpful with that.
Very cool. Jessica's gonna go. Yeah. See, when you come into real estate, you hit every marketing aspect. Whether it's a friend's birthday party, you want to go to these things, right? We want to be around more people.
Right.
Make it fun. Alexandria. Are you able to talk? I was going to ask to see how everything was going with you, with your contacts adding to the database.
Hey, yeah, I'm actually, so I work with Shanda Harris. I do her, sorry, here I am. Hi.
Oh, there you are.
I work with Shanda Harris. I do like administrative stuff for her. And she had me pop on here just to kind of listen and share
Perfect.
what's going on.
Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'm here.
Very cool. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you.
So the things we want to do is, this is where we ask for the appointment. And then when we get in front of them, we want to ask for the referrals. You know anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? If you do, let me know, right? And then after the appointment, we do our handwritten notes. To say thank you for meeting with us. Okay. This, I work at a restaurant as well. Finally got business cards. I've been dropping those with people's checks when they're finishing up. So far, over half the tables have taken them with them. What a great idea. I actually leave my card for at every restaurant.
Yeah. I've been giving them out everywhere I go, Matt.
Good.
So, I mean, today I was at the doctor's office waiting to get a flu shot, and there was a couple standing there, and I just said hello to her, and she told me her house got burned in the Mackenzie fire. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so awful. They lost everything except for their car. And they're staying at a place in Florence. And then she told me her son has 2 businesses here in Eugene, and they're going to buy a house eventually. So I gave her my card. I mean, you know, and then I got their names. I didn't get, unfortunately, I should have like taken a little more time to get their names, but I got their son's name, and I figured I could follow up with him.
Very cool.
Never know who's around, you know? It's weird.
Have the
Talk to everybody.
conversations.
Talk to everybody.
Everybody needs a house, right?
Yeah.
If somebody's renting, could they turn into a client? I found a zero down lender, got clients, they were renting, got a family. They went from renting to owning and got them into a house. When it was all said and done, it was the on point
Nice.
first time home buyers, zero down.
Oh, good.
So they actually got their earnest money back at close, and they also got their appraisal fees back at close. You pay a little bit higher interest rate. Total expenses to get in was $600.
Oh my gosh, thanks for sharing that, because that's where I bank.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm
So
gonna-
go to your bank, talk to them about the program.
Is that like a certain person on the staff, like at the mortgage?
They have more, yeah, anybody in their mortgage should be able to tell you about it.
Yeah.
It's a great connection to have, right?
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, because then people put their rent into a nice home instead of, you know, flushing it down the toilet every month.
What was that resource? Sorry, I was
Yeah,
I was
this-
texting somewhere.
On point.
Uh-huh. And what about them?
I have a-
That's where I bank too.
Is it? They have a zero down program. Okay. So their zero down program truly means zero down. So yes, they have to have earnest money because you want to have them have some skin in the game, so to speak, to get their offer accepted. But at closing, my clients got a check for, I think it was $1,550. So they got their appraisal money back, which you pay in advance, but they truly mean it's zero down. So total cost to them, upfront cost was $2,150. And then we found, using the secondary market strategy, something that was overpriced, we were able to go in and get our offer accepted.
Mhm.
And they got into the house for a total of $600.
That's amazing.
Wow, that's incredible.
Mhm.
And so they have to,
that was on point.
That's great.
and as long as they finance through them, then they can get that.
As long as they'll have to open an account with them. If so,
Uh-huh.
so if somebody's, renting that can't, that is paying, $2,100 a month, they could probably find something.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great
But
resource.
it's
Thank you.
having the conversations and building up your lenders, because not every lender, the more lenders you have, the more opportunities you have for your clients,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. And they'll do a lot of marketing
cool.
for you too, like the title companies and stuff. They'll help you market stuff.
They'll go in
Yeah,
house.
work on that.
We'll talk about open houses today.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And lenders. I've done food carts at open houses.
Yeah, nice. Everybody wants to eat.
Well, and the big thing is not having the food go into the house.
Yeah.
Food carts often have, 10 to 25,000 followers. All they do is, hey, I'm going to be at this open house.
Nice.
They order at the food cart, come into the house. Once they go out, they can have their food. You have to pay for it up front, right? Or you have to pay for all the catering. If 50 plate minimum, whatever it is, 35 plate minimum, whatever that looks like. It was good.
Yeah.
Something to do. Think outside the box. Biggest problem is just their schedule and finding different, people to work with, right? So, okay. So anybody got something anybody got an appointment? Any contacts back on this activity? No appointments, one reply so far. Awesome. So far, we're working hard to find the business and get the appointments. Once you've landed the appointments, you've demonstrated to the seller the value of as their listing agent, right? So when we talk about listings, we're going to dive into this a little bit. Sorry. You've demonstrated to the seller the value as their listing agent. They've signed the listing agreement with you. So last week we talked about how to get the listing. What do we do once we get the listing? So the listing agreement is signed. It's time to act on what you promised your sellers in your listing presentation. It's more than just sticking a sign in the yard. Successfully marketing and servicing a listing is very important to your client and could have positive, long-lasting benefits for you. What are some of those benefits? All right, when we talk about benefits, if you do a good job for them, they're going to spread, obviously, as referrals. They're going to tell more people about you, right? Once you put a sign in the yard, you may get buyers. You hold open houses, right? I hold open houses for all of my opens. Because of the fact that it brings a excitement, especially with the market's so light on inventory, with 1 month of inventory, 1.1 months of inventory up here. There's more buyers than there are sellers, and creating that fear, that excitement, that fear, there's a lot of people losing out. There's a lot of people losing out on offers, right? So if there's no open house, there's no urgency. Very cool.
Matt, you're up in the Portland area, right?
Yeah, Hillsborough, Portland.
Can you guys do open houses right now? Is that okay to do yet?
Yeah, we can do open houses. We just have to follow COVID policies, right? So,
Okay.
no more than one in the house at a time. So I've talked to a lot of my new agents about holding front porch open houses. So you can kind of maintain and keep people out. And if you can have 2 of you there, that might be a good time for that, where somebody's in the house showing, wiping things down, opening things. That way everything's getting wiped down also. Less chance for spreading. But then the other thing about being on the front porch is you're not in the house, so it's safer, right? Which is what we look for, is different ways to be able to have an open house and to be in front of to be in front of everybody. Neighbors see you out there, they may come by, you may get a listing out of it. Okay. If you're in the house and nobody comes to the door, you're not going to have any connections. You're not going to have any, it's going to feel like a wasted day, right? But if you're outside, right? If you're out on the front, if you're in the garage, whatever, wherever you decide, be where you're open to people, to seeing people, and they can see you. If they can see you, then it creates less opportunity for others, and it keeps you safer, right? So we get the listing sold by attracting buyers to the listing. Do that job will also generate additional buyers who will buy other listings, and sellers who will see an effective listing agent. Meet your seller's needs and focus on in a focused and communicative way. This will help build your reputation as a top listing agent. Ultimately, we want to be able to work with listings because that should attract 2 additional clients when you have a listing. Okay. Whether it's open houses, obviously holding open houses. 9 of my first 17 deals in my first year were from open houses. And so I was really a buyer's agent. This year I've turned it, in the last 2 years, I've turned it from a 90-10 to a 60-40 listings. Okay. So when we talk about, we've got the listing, now what? First thing you do is fill out the listing report on the RMLS, right? And your representation starts the minute that listing is signed. That is your client, that's your fiduciary. Anybody know what a fiduciary is?
Our obligation towards the client.
Exactly. Person who is legally or ethically entrusted to manage money or property between 2 or more parties. Okay. So once we put it in the RMLS, right, we collect as much information as we can. Always take, let's see, how do we find, open houses? What are ways we can find open houses?
On RMLS?
Well, you can go RMLS, but if you've got people in your office, a lot of them have listings and some of them don't have too many listings to where they can't hold them open. So things you could do to hold open houses. Be creative, right? And send out something to your market center that says you're available to hold open houses. Okay. Right now, Cassandra, we're having the same problem, and just not a lot of listings right now. And so it's okay if you don't have open houses. Another way to do it is reach out to a FSBO. Offer to hold his house open. Right? Be creative and think outside the box. Okay. So once we have it's your responsibility, right? It means that we're going to have servicing and marketing their home in the most effective way. 3 steps in this critical phase of the listing relationship with any seller: stage the property, market the listing, and communicate with the sellers. We went over this last week. And what we were talking about, right, was what we were talking about was communication. To get the listing, you promise them the communication. Well, it doesn't mean anything if you don't communicate. If you don't communicate, if you tell them you are going to sit and communicate on Monday and Friday, going into the weekend and coming out of the weekend, and you don't communicate that, they're going to sit around and wonder, I wonder why, right? And we're supposed to be time blockers, follow a schedule, right? So at that listing appointment, set your schedule of when you're going to communicate with them. Okay? And follow it. When you're holding somebody else's open, right? If we're looking for buyers, and you're hoping and you want to hold an open for somebody, the most important thing you can do is, once that open house is ended, is to reach out to that listing agent, because he's going to have an antsy seller wondering how it went, how many people came through, what was the feedback, and be honest with them, right? You're there to help them. You're an extension of their listing, right? We're there to get clients, but the best thing is communicate with the listing agent. Here's how many people we had through. I even go so far as to tell them what the weather was. Hey, held it open from 12, got there at 11:30. Weather was cloudy and gray and rained. Traffic was light, whatever it was. How many people did you have come through? Should be real easy right now with open houses to get people to sign in. Just for contact tracing. Because if somebody comes in and all of a sudden gets COVID, you want to have numbers to back up, right? Okay. How many people, when we talk about marketing the listing, that starts, of course, with the RMLS. What are other ways we can list? Where else can we go to sell the property? Where do we see listings being advertised?
Facebook, Craigslist, your own website.
Exactly.
Zillow and.
Yep, every site, it goes to everybody's phone, right?
Yeah, KWLS is the place to go for that, right?
Yeah. Yes. Everybody goes to, well, it depends on what app they use, right? And there's a ton of them out there. They all provide, it's whichever one you're comfortable with.
Matt, I couldn't hear what Nassim said at the beginning. What were the places he, excuse me, said? I couldn't hear it. Facebook, yeah.
Craigslist.
Uh-huh.
Zillow. Right?
Mm-hmm.
KW. Wherever they're going to see it, that's what happened when you just hit publish, right? And that's what we don't want to do, is just hit publish and then say, "Oop, it's marketed." What are other ways that we can market the listing?
door knocking the neighborhood.
Yep, inviting them to your open house. You're invited.
Has anybody had any luck with Nextdoor,
It's-
like
I've heard-
neighborhood forums?
Mhm. I've heard some good stories about that.
Okay.
But being able to have people in front of how you're marketing it, and compile that list and check in with them and say, this is what we have, right? RMLS, Zillow, what kind of feedback can you get from them? RMLS and Zillow will tell you how many people have viewed it, how many people have saved it, how many times it's been sent by agents to their clients. Those are all important numbers to keep in contact with Mondays and Fridays. Hey, no offers, but we've had 1,600 views in the first weekend.
Wow.
You know, there are more buyers than listings right now. So if you have, and that's if you're holding it open for somebody else, right? Have them, ask them the view counts. Do you have any, what are important information if you're holding an open house for a listing? What's important information that you need to know? Do you have any offers in hand? When will you be reviewing? Have you had a lot of activity? What are other questions you can ask? Right? I would say the most important out of this, how many people believe in staging a property?
Totally.
Totally.
When you go visit these open houses, the houses that really look smart, nice.
I disagree.
Really?
Yes.
I think they look
And
good. I like that.
my reasoning behind it is because in the classes that I've heard in the last couple of years, just being in the office, is that it's sometimes nicer for there to be nothing so that buyer can imagine their own things in there and they can, dream. Instead, sometimes it's harder for people to imagine their own things when it's already done another way.
I think
And that's my opinion.
well, the ones that I've seen that you can tell they're staged, they're just super tidy. Like there's a bed and a dresser in the bedroom. There's nothing sitting around. The spaces are open, so people can get a better idea of what their stuff would look like in there. They just look really tidy and beautiful. You know what I mean? I don't know that much about it, but just the ones that I saw, those houses seem to present better than the other ones.
Well, let's think about it. Okay. I would go with there's no right or wrong. I would tell you it depends on the property.
Mm-hmm.
And it depends on the seller.
True.
100% depends on the seller.
Yeah.
If they want it staged, then have some staging companies that you work with that they can meet up with. I put the cost on the sellers to stage.
How much does that cost, Matt, on average? It's all
Couple
different.
thousand.
Couple thousand?
It's depending on the square footage and whatnot. Depends on how long it's going to be there.
Yeah.
I found a company that will take $750 up front and then charge like a percentage at the end after it goes sold.
Okay.
Which is another option for your clients. It's all about options and giving your clients the options and what they have.
Hi guys, quick question on staging. Where do their belongings go? Is it, how does that work?
Honestly, it depends. I tell all my clients this in my listing appointment. Look, you're getting ready to move. So start packing, right? We're going to start putting things up. And my rule for staging is no more than 3 items on a counter.
Yeah.
And what it comes down to is the less there is, the better. But I tell everybody, you're getting ready to move. And as you're getting ready to move, put it in boxes and then put it in the garage. That way
Awesome. Thank you.
So, and I mean, here's the important thing. If they're going to put it in the garage, you got to leave access to the electrical panel. You got to leave access to the water heater, access to the furnace, access to the attic space because you're going to need access to that when you have an inspection or when they have an inspection, when the buyers have an inspection. Okay, that's key. You don't want them to put everything in the garage and block everything up so they can't get to any of the equipment. Okay, but I tell everybody, hey, you're going to be moving. Nobody really cares. They just care about the size of the garage, and you're going to be moving anyway. And that way, it's a whole lot easier to move from the garage than it is throughout any room in the house. That's what I tell them to do. Okay.
Can I let you know about an experience that my buyers went through with staging?
Sure.
So I have first-time home buyers, and every time the first 2 weekends we went looking, every time we went into a house that didn't have any furniture at all, they kept thinking that the master bedroom was too small for their bed. And every time we went into a house that had a bed, even if it was a queen or a king, depending on, then they were like, oh yeah, my bed will fit great. And it was literally the same dimensions. But they kept struggling with like thinking that it was too small.
Wow.
Unless there was furniture in there.
How many people have a tape measure in their car?
Good idea.
It is the tape measure and a flashlight.
I
Okay.
do have flashlights all the time.
Good, Mary.
Perfect. So really the goal, so when we talk about it, when you think about what attracts us to buying a house, right? Or buying anything, right? It's how is it presented? Are the pictures good? Are they professional, right? We're going to pay for the professional photographer. We're going to do our 360 walkarounds and we're going to do our video tours. And it comes down to presentation. If it's got a lot of nicks and dings and it's not the best, well kept house, and there's nicks and dings, then I would have it staged, because staging will hide that stuff.
Yeah.
They don't focus at the littler, the details, but if it's an immaculate shape, it just honestly it comes down to the seller. What does the seller want to do, right? Our goals for staging: we want to present the best face of the home. We want to maximize the spaciousness of the home and allow visiting buyers to envision themselves in a home instead of seeing the seller at every turn. So that part right there is talking about what? We're talking about declutter. No more than 3 things on the on the countertops, decluttering, packing away things that you aren't going to use, and it makes it that much better, right? What else is important about staging?
Neutral.
Yep. Now, I would also tell you that the numbers are, I don't want to say ridiculous, but the numbers of offers when a home is staged being vacant are higher on a staged home. And it's like 87%. It's something like you're more apt staging. There's a proven benefit to staging, right?
Yeah.
Now, I would tell you, since it's 2020 and everything's 180 from where we have been in the past, I would tell you that staging right now is not a good idea, that you would probably be better to leave it vacant. According to research that I've done, vacant houses are selling faster than occupied homes. And that's because of COVID. So we have to constantly be able to adjust our thinking at different times. It's never always the same, right? We want our buyers to envision themselves in this home. It's a great dialogue to have with the sellers at the listing appointment, and will make staging conversations easier, from decluttering to cleaning to landscaping, making the conversation, make the conversation with your sellers about you working as a team to help set the stage for the buyers to fall in love with and dream of living in the home, right? We want to take the emotion out of it for the sellers, and we want to bring the emotion into it for the buyers. That's our goals. Cleaning is a huge part. Making sure they're aware of the expectations of what it takes to get your home sold. With the invention of technology and internet, we are looking at ways to be able to effectively market the property. Here are the numbers. Will staging bring in higher offers? Realtors who work with buyers say most are willing to offer more money for a staged home. 32% of realtors report a 1 to 5% increase in the offer. 16% of realtors report a 6 to 10% increase in the offer. 3% of realtors report an 11 to 15% increase in the offer. According to the National Association of Realtors, the median cost spent on staging is that was in 2015. It's upwards of a couple $1,000s now, right? In 2015, it was like $675. Okay. Where's the money often most, where is it spent? And there's different levels of staging, right? You can get the bedroom, you can get the living room. It doesn't have to be the whole house, right? So you can save money depending on what the seller wants. Where is it that most money is often spent? The living room is ranked number 1 to stage to increase the value to a buyer. Number 2 is the kitchen. Number 3 is the master bedroom. Number 4 is the dining room. On luxury listings, staging the garage.
Wow, really?
Well, no, yeah, I've got a luxury certificate, and you'd be surprised what they do there.
Yeah.
Can you explain so I can? Is it just a matter of putting the car in the garage?
They actually, when you get up in the luxury side of things, it's more about your connections. You're inviting. You're gonna host a party. You're going to bring people in. You're going to invite other realtors. You can get sponsors, right? I've heard of people getting a hold of Bentley, Mercedes.
Really?
Seeing if they'll drop some cars off, maybe do a show home, put some cars out there to just make it an event.
Wow. Wow.
And you're making it an event.
Yeah.
You're going to mingle and you're going to talk. Luxury is a totally different ball game. Okay. According to the NAR remodeling cost versus value, gardening and landscaping efforts pays off Curb appeal projects are rated among the most valuable exterior home improvements projects. When we're walking through the house through the eyes of a buyer, we have the listing, we're walking through. We're looking at the curb appeal, we're looking at the bones of the house. How old is the furnace, right? Have they had their furnace serviced and repaired on a regular basis? Water heater. How old is the water heater? Because that's going to determine, these are the things that have to be replaced that are directly related to the function of the house. Okay. The pleasing exterior. We talk about the roof. We talk about the siding. Maybe it just needs a fresh coat of paint. Lots of color to make it stand out, right? Although we've discussed staging at the listing consultation, when it comes time to actually do it, some sellers may show reluctance and raise objections. Stress how the home appearance helps to achieve a quicker sale for a higher price. Our job is to sell it in the quickest amount of time for the highest price the market's going to bear. What are some objections you might have to staging?
Cost.
Number one, absolutely 100%. Number one, the cost of it. Especially right now, there's 1.1 months of inventory. How many people are thinking, well, you don't really have to do much to sell my house anyway. They're all selling in the first weekend,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I
But
don't want,
could an objection to that be, you would pull the stats on how many of those homes were staged that sold in the first weekend versus how many of them weren't? Like, what's the conversion ratio? Would that be a good?
absolutely. Absolutely. I would pull vacants and I would pull staged houses.
Also, it would go for more maybe, or you could say,
Yeah. We have this NAR statistics, right? So the NAR statistics just told you 1 to 5%, 32% sell 1 to 5% higher. Staged versus unstaged. Would it be worthy to look up since COVID, staged versus unstaged?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. We talk about when you're in your listing appointment, right? What are other ways? And this is what I would tell you when you're in your listing appointment and you've got the contract, have the fierce conversations with them, with your clients, the sellers, before. Have the fierce conversations. Hey, I would really love for you to pull out the carpet. We want to be market ready day one. The carpet's 20 years old. It's beat up. That's going to be a hindrance. We want to get you the highest price the market will bear. If you're able to, right? And a lot of it comes down to their situation. They may just say, no, we don't want to. We don't really want to make this repair. That's why we're selling this house.
Yeah.
When you go into houses right now, my common theme is this is somebody who hasn't maintained it, who hasn't kept it up, that wants to get rid of it at the highest price the market's going to, at the time it's a good market. Okay. If people see, if a home is not market ready day one, will it sit on the market longer? If they don't do a repair, if people see that it's got cracked tile, if it's got, a worn carpet, maybe it needs paint, have these conversations before they list. Why? You can save them money. When you save them money, are your clients going to appreciate you more?
Yes.
Are these things that are going to be able to be, are these things that are going to be called out during an inspection? Probably. You're going to deter people from writing offers on it in the first place, right? Buyers are more picky now than they've ever been.
Would you go as far as having a seller do a pre-listing, like a pre-inspection, like have the sellers do an inspection?
Up to them. Up to them. The biggest argument against that is then you have to disclose everything. So if you know about it, you have to disclose it. And if you're okay with disclosing, being transparent, then absolutely. Why? Because then because then your sellers know there's going to be no surprises.
So really, you would just then gauge your client and go off of their personality and what their motivations are.
Absolutely. Motivation's the big key. Absolutely, 100%. Hey, you've taken meticulous care. Have you had a sewer scope in the last 3 years? Have you had a radon test? Every one of my buyers, I highly suggest to get a professional inspection, a radon test, and a sewer scope. Why? Because it's worth, what I tell my clients is it's worth the $600 to $700 to be able to protect yourself and know that when it comes time for you to sell, you're starting out at ground zero. I would tell you 3 out of 5 of my sewer scopes up here probably come back with issues.
Yeah.
We have trees. Trees have roots.
Oof.
Roots look for water. Right?
Mhm.
Cracks in the pipes, depending on how old it is. It just kind of depends. But you're there to protect your clients. Right now, how many people walk into a listing? Well, I'll tell you right now, a lot of people walk in and say, we want to sell the house as is. In this market, they feel like they can. A common buyer strategy is, yeah, we know we're going to be buying it as is, right? But we still haven't done our due diligence. Just because it says as is still means you do the inspections. Why? Because you're not looking through the attic. You're not looking in the crawl space. You're not checking out the sewer. You're not living there every day. Still, you want your clients to be protected. If they want to sell the house as is, would you prefer to pay a few $100s to paint a room, or do you prefer to deduct $500 to $1,000 from the sales price?
Yeah, seriously.
That's a great one. Put it in monetary value.
Matt, I'm a little confused, please. So what does as is mean? As
is means the seller is willing to do no repairs.
Okay, and then you go do inspections for your client to protect them, and you find stuff.
Yep.
So what happens?
Well, if it's major, then we're going to ask for a price reduction, because oftentimes the seller isn't going to know about it either, right?
Okay.
Unless he's done his pre-inspections.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different ball game. And one other thing about, I would tell you, the benefit to having an inspection on a listing side of things, the benefit to having the inspections before is, before you hit the market, you as an owner can do work on the house.
Mm-hmm.
You may have a handyman.
Yeah, once it's on, you can't, huh?
real quick, if there's a major issue, how much harder does it make it to get the buyers financed on a purchase? Depends. I never share any repairs with the lender.
Hmm.
It's between the buyer and the seller.
Yeah.
Sometimes the lender asks. I equate this and what I look for when I'm dealing with the seller side of things, right? As a buyer's agent, even if you say as is, if something major comes up, say there's a crack in the sewer line, right? There's a belly that they didn't know about. Okay, is that going to make a difference on the financing? Only if the lender knows about it. But what it does do is gives the buyers an opportunity to say, you know what, we found something major, so we don't want to buy the house at this price, but we'll buy it for, say you get an estimate, and you take that off of there, right? Hey, it's going to cost $7,900 to do the sewer that we found. You pull it off. You hit them with a, hey, found a major issue. And here's the other part of that. From the seller side of things, I will go to my sellers with that. Yes, I know we agreed as is, but they found something that's going to affect, one, our disclosures. So we're going to have to disclose because we don't want lawsuits. We want to protect our clients. And will that affect the next offer coming in? Absolutely 100%. Does that make sense? So if it's going to affect the house coming back on the market and they don't want to do anything, then we walk away.
So that's what I found on Sunday. It was pretty far, and there's a roof issues, there's ceiling issues. It seems kind of major to me, and the listing agent also kind of told me that there is the ceiling issues. I don't know the seller is aware, but they don't really care about. But there's no other saying about they're gonna fix it or whatnot. There's no mention about it.
You may not have money to fix it. They may not have money to fix it.
Probably not.
That's what I would assume. If it's on the market in that condition and it says as is, there's probably not a lot of money to deal with.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's something you can tell by the condition of the house. Has it been maintained? Has it been unkept? Every house has a story. It's your job to find out the story. Okay. If a house has a roofing issue and has a leak, if we want a pre-inspection can determine that, right? And we can get it fixed before we hit the market. Then we just disclose that there was a leak and we got it fixed. Okay. Buyers will use repairs to get a lower price, even if it says as is. They will use it. Okay. Just because they say as is, explain to them, look, they're still going to do their due diligence. They'll still have some inspections you can expect, and know that they're probably going to ask for some sort of price reduction. Okay. That's when we talk about doing what's in the best, giving your clients the most information so they can make the best decision for them and their family. And explaining to them that, yes, just because we say as is doesn't mean it's going to be as is. I wanted you to be prepared for if they find anything major, they're either going to hit us with a they're going to hit us with a repair, or they're going to walk away, or they're going to hit us with a price reduction. If you want to avoid that, then let's have an inspection before we go live on the market. That's where that becomes beneficial. Do you want to spend $600 to $700 to protect yourself before you hit the market? Seems like it would be beneficial to have that discussion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Marketing the listing. So we've now talked about staging, the benefits to it. And ultimately what I would tell you is it comes down to the money. Every staging conversation I've had is, do they want to spend the money? During COVID, it's an easy conversation. Let's sell it vacant. Less things to get contaminated. Okay. When we put your listing on the buyer's radar screens, our 14-step marketing plan. How many people have a 14-step marketing plan? Anybody?
Not yet.
Here's the right answer.
Love it.
I do, because I stole it from Mara.
Did you?
That's great.
Okay, so the marketing and the listings starts with the motivation, their motivation, but it also, the first thing is marketing is pricing the home. Price the home competitively with current market and price trends. Advise sellers on how to attract buyers by showing their home in the best possible light. Market ready day one. So you have the conversation of what the house should look like for showings. You prepare your sellers, get up every morning, make the bed.
Yeah.
Do the dishes from the night before. Right? You'd be surprised how many agents don't have this conversation with their clients, and you walk in and it's,
God.
we've all seen it, right? Whether we've looked at them ourselves before we were realtors, now it's just going to change your whole world, your whole right? Place the for sale sign with property flyers, easily accessible to drive-by buyers. How many people are going to use flyers? This is one of the great debates.
So Matt, when
Yeah.
I went out on some of these visits to the open houses, some agents had nothing and other agents had flyers and their cards, and they come up to you and offer to you. It's really interesting. So
You want to, I'll give you what I do for open houses. I go to the RMLS, I pull the listing, and you know how you can do an agent full,
yeah.
and then you've got a client full.
Mhm.
There's something called a combined reports. Okay, so the combined reports can be an agent full, a client full, up to 32 photos, history, and tax information. I print that stuff off for the open house. I give every buyer that comes in a client full. I don't necessarily do the photos because they're going to be there,
Yeah.
but I do a history page. And I tell everybody the house has a history, and it's my job to find the history. How long has it been on the market? Is it ripe for a price reduction? How, whatever you can tell them about the house. Did it go active? Did it go pending beforehand? Did it come back on the market? Maybe what was the reasoning it came back on the market? It's your job to tell the story. And the better the story you can tell, the better you're going to look.
So all that information in RMLS?
Yes, we'll go over it Friday.
Thank you.
And I take this to every open house. And then I also print out the tax returns the tax information. One, so you can see that it matches. And if your clients want to write an offer, they've got the information right there. Who are we making this offer out to? Right? Okay. The biggest thing when you have a listing is to respond to all buyers' inquiries immediately. Cassandra, that's fine. I will keep letting you back in. Post the home on your branded KW app. Of course, when you hit public, optimize the home's internet presence by posting your property in the Keller Williams listing service or system. Locate and globalize MLS systems on social media with plenty of photographs and descriptions of the property as well as video tours. Okay. That pretty much happens when you hit publish. When you've got your listing, you hit publish, it goes boom, everybody's phone goes off, they look at their phone, whatever app, right? Market the home on multiple websites, including your own site. You want to put it on your KW local office. You want to put it on the distribution system. Send it out to all of your co-agents. That's one of the things. We have a team behind us. How many people have extra buyers right now that would like to know of something coming up? Create flyers and comment cards for viewers at the property. As a listing agent, put those on the corner, right? Feedback forms. I have little clipboards that I put in my listings with pens so they can give feedback. Okay. As a seller's representing the listing. Okay. When we represent the listing, one of the things buyer's agents do is what? Supposed to leave your card, right?
Yeah.
I tell all my sellers to pick them up and throw them away. Why would I do that?
So they don't work with them instead of you?
It's a game of poker. We're trying to figure out what's going to be the best offer as a buyer's agent, right? And if I walk in and see on that countertop 25 cards and no offers, is that information I can take to my buyers and say this house is overpriced? It's a game of poker. So I tell my sellers to pull all the cards. And then, and also it puts you a step above. You're thinking about the ramifications, because if I'm representing a buyer, I walk in and see 50 cards.
Yeah.
And no offers, you're ripe for a price reduction. You're ripe for a lower offer. If there's 0 cards, they can't tell anything.
That's true.
Okay, time on the market. When we have time on the market, we want to show our hand, right? We want to show our hand. Time on the market is your worst enemy. That's why pricing is so important for the listing. Flyers and comment cards. If somebody fills out the comment cards, go pick them up. We don't want to leave any traces. Distribute just listed notices to the neighbors. Now, door knocking is one thing right now. I would invite people and leave the hangers and the door knockers onto the properties, onto the neighbors, or you can farm it out, and have your title company pull a list of, 150 of the closest homes. Okay, versus door knock.
So Matt, how do you do that? You just call up you just call up a local title company and you say, I have a listing at this address. Can you give me a list of?
Absolutely. You want to be able to reach out to the sales, whatever title company, and I would actually start calling people right now to build that relationship and find out what title and escrow can do. Right? You'll have to pay for the mailing of them, but they'll do them for free, and they have templates and whatnot that you can build and send out.
Okay.
I always start off with you're invited. Even if somebody's got a no solicitation thing on there and I'm door knocking, I will still invite them. Okay. Yes, your title and escrow people are they can be a huge benefit. Why would we tell our neighbors about our house that we just listed? So then neighbors,
Because
go ahead.
I feel like if there are families that want to have other siblings or family members together in the same neighborhood, they would let their family know. So it's a good marketing tool.
Absolutely. And it also gets them involved in being able to pick their neighbors.
And I think people are generally curious about other people's houses, so I got a postcard here in our neighborhood. It was Matt Sayer who sent it out saying, you want to see it. you want to see the house. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
It was funny.
Excuse me. I would also, it gives them now's your chance as a neighbor to pick your neighbor. You want to increase the value of your neighborhood, or do you want to decrease it? Right?
Yeah.
Are you going to get a call if the neighborhood crackhead walks in and buys the place? Probably not. We don't know, right? But they, at least you've given them an opportunity to pick their neighbors.
Yeah.
Matt, I had a cool experience when I hosted Seymour, and buyers that come in, they like to hear about the neighborhood and the house. And we had a couple of local neighbors come through and check out the house.
Yeah.
And other buyers coming in, and they were overhearing all the great things that the neighbors had experienced. They had lived there for like 20 years.
Nice.
And talked about how their kids grew up and went off to college. And so it's really nice for the buyers, the potential buyers, to hear those good conversations about the neighborhood.
Yep.
From people that have lived there, credible people.
I had an old farmhouse. I'll dive into this one just because it was a mesmerizing. All I did was sat back and watch this lady go to work. But she came in the last day of the open house, and she was there the entire 3 hours. And it was her grandfather's house.
Wow.
And she talked about what they used to do as a kid. I couldn't even,
Yeah.
I should have paid her.
Awesome.
Oh.
Right. And so all the memories, being a little girl and just having grandma and grandpa had, the nursery over here, the farm over here, or whatever it was, but you couldn't replay it. Right.
Sure.
So target your marketing to active real estate agents who specialize in selling homes in the area. Instead of thinking of them as competition, think of them as people who can help sell the home.
Hey, Matt, how do you find out which agents are specializing in your area? You know what I mean? So
That's just
areas.
That's going to come as you get into the business a while.
Okay.
Right? If it's your own neighborhood, you know who targets your area, right?
No, not yet.
If somebody gets, if you get a postcard from real estate agents, they're farming your area.
Okay.
Okay.
I haven't received any postcard at all.
Good.
You haven't?
Mm-mm,
Okay.
nothing.
Nothing? Well, that's good. Start farming your own area.
Well, because the house and just in from my house, I hear the phone call all the time. The lady's doing their real estate. I think that she's been there for a while. And she's like really loud talking real estate, this and this and this and this. I'm like, who is this person? But
Right.
she talks about all the time, every single night on the phone, outside with other peeps that she's hanging out with. So that would be another reason I never receive anything.
I would, well, and a lot of people know who that agent is, right?
Looks like it, yeah.
We had 3 listings. We just gone back on the market. We had 3 listings in the same block.
Wow.
And I called the other agents. A new one was just coming on the market. And so I called her and I said, hey, I said, I just wanted you to be aware I'm going to have an open house this weekend at these times and I'm bringing a food truck. I said, so if you want to hold your house open, that's great. So the 2 were on the market for a little bit. This was a year and a half ago. Over 500,000, but I brought in the food truck. Every house went pending that weekend.
Mhm.
We all worked together to sell every house. And I got the buyer on the house around the corner too.
Nice.
So think outside the box. If you're competing, what would a food truck bring? 10 to 25,000 followers, right? 10 to 25,000 followers on Facebook. They post where they're going to be. People are going to come. Real buyers that are interested are all just going to say, see what? The activity. If you have 80 to 90 people coming through an open house,
Yeah.
does that create fear?
So,
Does that create excitement? Like, yes, we need to
urgency.
urgency, all of these things. We want to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Include the home in your company's MLS tours. How many agents go on their Tuesday brokers open tours?
Do
What
they
is
have
it? I
them
don't
down
know.
here? I don't know if they're having them. Are they?
I don't know. Can
We
you
still have
explain?
them. We still have them.
Or do you? Oh, I need to look that up. I wasn't sure if they were having them here in Eugene.
Okay, so in Eugene, they may not. We just get a list. We're not going as a group, but we used to have,
Oh,
we used to organize a meet at the office at 10 o'clock and do a caravan.
yeah. I'd like to do that.
So
Do we still do there?
we haven't since COVID. So the brokers tours are still happening. That list should still be coming out.
Okay.
So that's just a question of seeing it. And if it's open house and it's hosted, then go for it.
So where would we find out? I know it's listed on RMLS, so should we check
Broker
there?
tours, brokers
Yeah.
tours.
Under broker tours on RMLS?
Yeah.
Okay. Or call the local Realtors Association maybe, or,
RMLS.
okay,
Look up brokers tours.
okay.
Okay. Now our office sends one out every Monday or every Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
Okay. East side and west side.
What's that?
Create an open house schedule and market and host the open house to promote the property to prospective buyers. And that's with all these listings coming up. That's when you put your name out there, right? If you're looking to host open houses, be creative. You're competing with hundreds of other agents, right?
Mhm.
But if you put out a video on the Facebook, on Keller Williams Sunset Corridor distribution group in Facebook, right? Where we put all those things and say, hey, I'm just looking to host an open house. What you got? And be selective on the open houses too. Don't take the one that hasn't had a price drop and it's been on the market for 3 months. Your time's more valuable than that. And don't be afraid to tell the listing agent, well, be careful how you tell them. Because sometimes having the fierce conversation with them to say, yeah, it's not really appealing to me. That's just to make them look good. Your time is valuable also, right? Any questions behind that? Create an open house schedule. Okay, so create the schedule also. Let them know. Let your sellers know in the marketing plan. Mondays and Fridays. Friday, set up the open houses on Monday. Give them the details on Friday. Open houses are going to be on Saturday and Sunday from 12 to 3, 1 to 4, whatever you decide. Heck, if you want to do it 9 to 5, go for it. Okay. Target active buyers and investors in your database who are looking for homes in this price range. The first thing I do when I get a listing is I send it to my buyers. 100%. Provide the seller with weekly updates, detailing your marketing efforts. Why do you need to detail your marketing efforts?
Reassurance.
They're not going to see what you're doing. If you don't tell them what you're doing, they're going to assume you're doing nothing.
Can I ask one question if we go back to letting your buyers know about your listing?
Yeah.
So how would you present that, or how is this a dual agency situation?
It could be.
Okay.
Absolutely, it could be. And what I would say is that if you can, one, your buyers want you to know, right? I have a package set up in my, if I find a buyer before I do any marketing behind it, then their commission rate drops.
Yeah, so it's a win-win for everybody if you're the only agent there.
Right. Now I have the benefit that I'm a husband-wife team. So then my wife just represents the buyers. I'll represent the seller. I've had it happen once. And we were going to list it 325. Called my buddy at Phil, or my client, who was a good friend. And I said, hey, this house is coming on the market. It might be a little bit too big for you, but I wanted to let you know about it before it hits the market. So we went and looked at it. Happened to be driving by when the guy that bought the 2 houses at the end of the street was talking about how he's going to pave the road, build 2 new houses at 450 plus at the end of the street. And my client buddy just said, I'd be stupid not to buy it. So we wrote an offer. Writing the offer, I presented it to my clients and I said, it's one thing to say what we're going to do, but when we actually do what we're going to do and you see the 325, and this will drop your commissions from this price to this price. So in reality, this is like a 336 offer. I said, but you can accept it, reject it, or counter. And we wound up countering and we raised it $5,000 and he still took it. Okay. But it was open and transparent. They didn't have to paint any walls to get it ready for the market. He bought it as is right there before we even hit the market. No photographs, no nothing.
Wow.
Okay. It can benefit both sides.
Thank you.
And the sellers think very highly of me, even though they moved out of state. And their biggest thing was I competed with 4 other agents in that one. And the minute that I handed them seller's disclosures and I needed to walk the house through the eyes of a buyer, well, I do that. You fill these out. I realize your time is value. No other realtor handed them any paperwork. And I was the 4th one in. In your listing presentation, have disclosures. Walk the house with your RMLS input forms. Okay. So if we go there, anyway. the biggest thing is provide the seller with weekly updates. Coming into the weekend, out of the weekend. Also, give them weekly or give them the feedback as something that they are, so that they have the feedback so they can make the decision. Now, hopefully you're pending in 5 days. Hopefully you have multiple offers coming in. I never let them know that somebody said they were going to write. Because there's so many times where an agent's called me and said they're going to write, and then I see nothing, and it deflates the sellers. So until I have something in hand, I don't bring it up. Okay? Any questions so far? Marketing steps, marketing action steps. First thing is pricing. Pricing is the most important thing to bring activity. List price will determine the activity. The activity will determine the sale price. Do your due diligence on signage. Condos, homeowners associations, call them when you get the listing to make sure that you follow all the guidelines. Can you have signs? Look around the neighborhood. If you're in a condo and you look around and nobody's got a for sale sign, but they've got a for sale sign in the windows, then there's probably something in the homeowners association guidelines.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the house properly staged? What would you have done differently? How could you proactively persuade the sellers? We've gone over it. COVID's changed things. Honestly, it depends on the sellers if they want to stage it or not. One of the best questions you can ask your seller, because that's what you want to market, is what they loved about the home when they bought it. What got you to put an offer in this home? What got you to buy it? You get some of the funniest answers, but it's pretty funny. Some were funny, some were great. Depends on the personality, right? But that's when they know you care, because you're going to market it by what appealed to them, because probably what appealed to them is still true to this date on that property. Okay. Ask them what features of the home you will want to emphasize. On the photographs and the virtual tours. Okay. What is the buyer's profile for the home you've chosen? First-time buyers, young families, a large family relocating for professional reasons. How could you market to them specifically, right? So we've got to think, who is best fit for this? If it's a 1 bedroom, 1 bath, you're not going to market it to a family of 4, right? So we want to know what demographic we're looking at in that area, and that becomes part of our marketing. Those are the things that we're going to look at. Okay. My favorite, how to hold an effective open house. Part of your marketing strategy and one of your 14 steps is to show the property through an open house. Holding an open house is an excellent way to market your listing and market yourself as the real estate expert. 0.5% of homes sell at the open house. It's not a big number, is it? But what it does do is it changes the mindset in the minds of buyers. And I've done it done a study on it where I didn't hold a house open the first weekend. And I was borderline on the price. But then the next weekend I held it open. On the second weekend, they were finishing up things. On the second weekend, I did the open house. As soon as I put the open house up, you get 3-4 requests for showings, got offers on the table. And the first weekend we had none. Pay attention on your own when you have listings and when you have buyers. Study the numbers. How many homes have you showed? How many people have come through? When it's your listing, you can check the view counts online. 3 things are going to happen, and I explain this to my sellers. 3 things are going to happen when we go live. We're either going to get a lot of looks and offers, we're going to get a lot of looks and no offers, or we're going to get 0 looks and 0 offers. Pricing will determine that. Open house benefits. They're the key to lead generation. Why? Because you can get more clients. Right? And what we want to do then is, how do we hold, what are things that you can do to hold an open house? Open houses benefit the agent holding the open house. So if it's your listing, hold it open. Nobody knows that house better than you do. But if you can't and you're moving on to the next listing, find somebody who can, that's going to service it the same way you do. The open house event, and it is an event, it's face-to-face prospecting. We're getting in front of the most ready-made buyers right then and there. And just because somebody has an agent doesn't mean you don't talk to them. You may have more information for them. They may decide to walk out of that open house and fire their agent because their agent doesn't know as much as you do. We're there to be the expert. The open house event and the time leading up to and after provides an opportunity for you to build relationships, market your name to geographic farm, and secure the neighborhood's mind share. When you get done with an open house and people are sharing your open house in the neighborhood, you've done something right. Okay, perfect. And then we're gonna get the word out. Facebook. Put it on your social media platform. Put it on your business profile on your Facebook. Door knocking. Leverage the internet and social media. All of those are ways to market it. Here's another thing also is, can you friend request your listing on Facebook, on Instagram, right? If you friend request them, then you can tag them in every one of your posts so they know the marketing that you're doing. But then you're also telling all of their friends and family who they chose to put their trust in to sell their house. That's an effective marketing tool. Twitter is another way to keep connected. Okay. All these social community websites. Going to the grocery store. They've got community boards there too. Maybe going into the bank. Find out where you can put it out and get word out the most. Most important thing is to follow up and get feedback with everybody who's in there, who's been in the home. Communicate with the sellers. Remember, you told the sellers it's all about them, and you've promised them a 10+ experience that starts with communication. You've agreed to communicate in ways that work for the sellers, whether once a week, once a day, by phone, email, whatever you've done, let them know. Even if it's a vacant house, they've already moved out. They may be still doing work on it. Let them know when the schedules are showed, or when the showings are scheduled. Why? Because they could be there. Next thing you know, they're like, didn't know anything about that buyer. Yes, that one's from personal experience. We learn as we go, right? Be sure to time block on your calendar, not only for the open house, but also for follow-up. The biggest thing you don't want is to have your sellers wondering what's going on with their house. Okay. Communication checklist. Have a checklist when you're in your listing appointment. Always ask and learn about what's their preferred communication. Is it by phone? Is it by email? Is it by text message? Once, twice a week? What is it? Match their style. In person, if it's an engineer and he's a high D, wants to get to the point, don't spend an hour and a half talking to him. You're going to drive him nuts. Understand the people that you're working with. Understand their personalities, right? Always update. Updates should happen even when there's no new information to share. That's a big one. Don't let them assume. Bad things happen when they assume. Be prompt. Always communicate as a partner or a team with your customer, with your client. You're part of a team. Having some of the fiercest conversations happen. They may not like them, but your job is to sell their house, not list their house. And the market has already told them what? That we're going to sell your house. We're going to interpret the market. Our job isn't to tell them what their house is going to sell for. Our job is to interpret the market.
I'm doing a training right now. I can help you with that in a little bit. In the meanwhile, you can find stuff to snack on. Love you, buddy.
Keep a log. Maintain a communication log in your database. When have you reached out to them? Always include all decision makers and always be enthusiastic and positive. Just because they haven't had showings in a week doesn't mean it's the end of the world. We just know how to correct it. Always under promise and over deliver. Right? That should be the hallmark of your business. If you say you will communicate once a week, communicate twice a week, or until your seller asks to scale it down. Say your staging expert will be in touch with the sellers that week, and then make sure the stager calls them the next day. What are some other examples? We're going to farm the area to 100 homes. Send it to 200 homes. Door knock 200 homes. That's a fun day. Because that's your time to get more listings in the neighborhood. Always come with solutions. Don't come with the problems without a solution. That's my favorite right there. If you've got a problem and something is pointed out and say there's moisture in the ceiling that they can see, find out. Come with a solution. Have a contractor go out and take a look at it. Come with solutions. Develop staging resources. Excuse me. Create a wow experience. There's different ways you can do that. It can be for as little if you're on a budget, and we're all on a budget, right? It can be, you know, balloons at an open house. It can be pinwheels. It can be, it can be anything. I have flags. I do mega open houses, 16 footers, 8 footers, 10 footers. I have flags everywhere. And then I have little cardboard signs that says open house. I brought food trucks. I want it to be an event. And I look forward to when I can bring them back. I've scaled down my open houses quite a bit right now with COVID. Everyone's safety is more important, but think outside the box, right? If you don't want to spend the money on catering, then, you know, cook up your own. Bring trays of, you know, food. An old common one was putting, you know, cooking cookies for the open house to make it smell warm and inviting and create that warm and cozy atmosphere. Sometimes you just want that smell, so you grab a cookie sheet and some vanilla and just, you know, put it on low and let the aroma take over the house. Whatever you decide. You get to decide, right? I've had one of our local, just for fun, she's got her own cookie. She does shortbread cookies, and then she put my logos on them. So every cookie that was handed out was individually wrapped and said Team Spate Real Estate. Okay. Super service, right? 10 plus, we want them to have a 10 plus experience. What I tell them is I want to give them a 10 plus experience, but that doesn't mean we're not going to have hiccups. Just means you're going to have a trusted real estate resource at your side through this.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
And so you're going to have situations, and I know like over here in Central Oregon, we have a lot of investors, people who have rental properties and this and that. And when you're having a seller who wants to sell their home with tenants in it, what would be a good way to still provide that great service and still like respect the tenant? I'm asking this a lot because I'm a tenant in a situation like this. And the listing agent is been not very, I don't know.
Friendly?
That, like we ran out of booties and I text her, and when she first came in, I was like, I'm a real estate agent for Keller Williams, like just so that she knew, wasn't kind of catching her off guard. So when like we ran out of booties or something, I'd text her and she'd be like, oh, well, I can't get there for a little while. So we had some showings, and she's like, you may not have them for the showings. And it's like, we're in a COVID world.
Wow.
And, you know, and just, we've had poor communication. Like we've had 2 offers fall through on this house, and like we've had inspections done, and like as a tenant, I was told that only the inspector is going to be there. Well, it ended up being like I walked, and they said, "Oh, you're fine to be there. They'll just do their thing. You can live there as normal." Because I'm working from home, doing these things, and I come home and I have like 6 people in my home. It's the buyers, it's the buyer's agent, it's like all these people, and I guess if I'm going to be listing a house, I want to know what would be best practice to, I don't know, avoid.
Communication. Number one, could she solve a lot of your problems with better communication?
Well, and respect too. I mean, I noticed on there, like we're in a lease till the end of May. We're protected, 100% protected. And she has on the MLS, on Flex MLS, that we're in a month to month that ends at the end of the year, and that all we need is a 90-day notice.
How can she do
I
that?
personally texted her and I said, that's not our contract.
That's not
Can you
cool.
please change it? And she didn't change it. And she didn't even respond to me.
What?
Mm-hmm.
What is the?
She's with Coldwell Banker.
That's weird.
Have you
And
been
she's not a new agent. She's a seasoned agent.
That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I would tell you, what does the landlord say? Have you told?
We're going through property management company, and they've also, I mean, they came onto our property without notice, so we've already, yeah. And they're trying. I think they came and mowed our lawn. It's not in our contract to have our lawn mowed.
Was this getting ready for the open or getting ready for the listing?
No, we've been listed since May. And we had new property management come take over beginning of May, before they listed it. And they did a walkthrough, didn't say anything. It's not in our contract to do lawn maintenance. So I've been trying to reach out to both the property management and the agent, and neither of them are being very.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I was going to say, learn from it.
Yes.
Respect it, because the tenant situations you can make their life a living hell. You can, honestly. That's not a bad thing. It's just reality of the situation. Create win-win situations, not only just through the listing, the seller and the buyers, but it also goes with tenant situations. Does that help? Okay. So being able to then have that, and tenant situations are tough.
Yeah.
There's some tenants that you give them the 24-hour notice and they think that's a note on the door is going to stop you from going in. If they've been notified and let know, then you can go into the property. A lot of times it's not ready. I will tell you, you can walk into some scary situations. Nothing like opening a bathroom door and seeing somebody with a needle in her leg.
Oh, God.
I walked into my garage and there was a lady standing in it. It's appraiser.
Oh my God.
I was on a call and my earbuds were in and I didn't hear anything in the house. And my door was open and I walked in there and I like freaked out. Oh, I scared her. She scared. Oh, it was bad. So, yeah. I will always knock on doors when I go into houses, like extra like knocks.
Oh yeah. Well, the owner let us in on this one. The owner let us in and he actually broke into the bathroom door because it was locked.
Wow.
We got that house for $35,000 under list price.
Because of the door.
Not because of the tenant.
I'm just kidding.
And he was like, well, offer accepted, right? So it's an advantage. Be sincere, understanding. I understand. Goes a long way. Even if you don't understand, I understand where you're coming from. Deliver what is promised and it's expected. Provide the extraordinary and uncommon service. if you do a food truck, if you do something outside of the norm, right? Are people going to notice in the neighborhood? But the key is to follow up. The key is to follow up, to grow the business, become that neighborhood market expert. Okay? You want repeat business and referrals. When people see you going above and beyond, they will notice. They will tell their friends. They will put it on their Facebook pages. They will put it on their social media. Does anybody feel confident to where they can do a listing presentation?
Not yet. Need materials. I'm working on the materials. But if somebody told me they wanted one, I'd get them ready fast.
Well, and there's nothing like, and if you've got a listing appointment, you've got an appointment that may be a listing, call me. I'll walk you through it.
Thanks.
And that's,
Appreciate it.
it's one of those things that you learn. Nassim. So he just read that, right? I love that you're willing to step out of your comfort zone.
Well, there's no real choice here. This is all brand new. If I don't step out of my comfort zone, I'm gonna go back to doing what I was doing before I was doing this.
What was that? Is that your big why?
Oh, that's what I'm still doing. I held on to both of my jobs until I can start making money here. But I'm just maxing out the clock and doing 80, 90 hours a week.
Okay. First time I got into real estate, I did 2 jobs for 5 years.
Yeah, I would expect at least 12 months of this.
Okay. You could do it.
Oh, yeah.
So listing presentation. What do you think? You want me to run through mine first?
Yes, please.
Mine's super quick, super easy. It's, got to be in the right frame of mind. So I may bumble my way through it, but, so Nassim, how about you be the customer?
Alrighty.
Get him, Nassim.
And am I pronouncing your name right?
No, it's perfect.
Okay. Perfect. So you pull up, you drive the neighborhood 15 minutes early, walk the neighborhood, look if any actives are coming, if there's a sign on the yard, look for anything in the area so you know what's there. You can speak intelligently to other listings in the area. Okay. So Nassim.
Yes.
Knock, knock, knock.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Nassim. Hey, it's Matt Spate, Team Spate Real Estate at Keller Williams Sunset Corridor. We have an appointment at 3 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock. May come in.
Yeah, please do. It's good to see you.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me over. I appreciate it. I love what you've done to the front. Looks like you're getting ready to sell.
Yeah, just want the place to be pretty so we can move it quick.
You got lots of great colors. You got lots of great colors out there. See, you got some bark dust, a nice pile of bark dust out there. Are you planning on doing anything else?
We were just going to try to make it tidy, but nothing big.
Okay. Love it. Love that you're there. Well, if you don't mind, I'd love to come in and sit down at the dining room table.
Oh, yeah. Just watch out for all the kids' home learning stuff. Let me clear space.
Is there a better place that you might like to do this instead?
No, I think it's probably a pretty good spot for it.
Okay, perfect. Hey, well, one, I want to can't thank you enough for having me over here. I know you have lots of options, and choosing me to come is to meet with you is I don't take lightly. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to get in front of you. Hopefully we can help each other. Okay. First thing I want to do is go through your house through the eyes of a buyer. And I don't want
What do you
you
mean by
there.
that?
I don't want you there. Part of what we're going to do today is have fierce conversations to get your house on the market ready day one. I know what buyers are looking for. And if I tend to find that when you walk with me, it kind of distracts me from looking at it through the eyes of a buyer. So I'd really like to start by looking at it through the eyes of the buyer.
All right. Yeah.
And then we can walk it when we're done together. And then you can tell me all the great and wonderful things about it.
All right. That works for me.
Okay, perfect. In the meantime, while I walk through, I've got these seller's disclosures. And when you list with me, this is something that we're going to have to fill out.
Okay.
Okay, so this will save us both time and energy later. Okay, and what this is everything you know about the house, and yes, no, or unknown questions that you're going to have to fill out. I want you to be honest and transparent and answer them. If you don't know, save it and ask the question when I get back. And then I take my RMLS input forms and I walk the house with a notepad and also take notes. Meanwhile, you're doing what?
Well, I'm either twiddling my thumbs or, knowing me, I'm probably filling out the paperwork and leaving the signature off so I can make that choice at the end.
Perfect. But if I see that you're already filling it out, my mindset is he's going to list with me.
Sure.
Right? It changes your mindset. If you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs, then you've got some work to do. And it also depends on what personality you are. So as I walk through, I'm making notes. Hey, you've got it, I'm making some notes. I come back and I sit down. Hey, love what you've done here. You've got some great upgrades. I'm complimenting you. I'm giving you compliments on things that I've noticed, but I'm also going to, hey, can you tell me what's going on in the bathroom? It looks like there's been some water damage up in the ceiling. What can you tell me about that?
Oh, yeah, my mother-in-law, she was visiting last year, and it was the upstairs bathroom. There was a plumbing issue that we didn't know about, and she caused a little bit of a overflow, and next thing you know.
Okay. And that's been repaired? Has that been repaired and we have receipts for that?
Yeah. Fortunately, it was on her dime, so I didn't have to worry about it.
How do you feel about maybe repainting that spot in the ceiling?
I have absolutely no problem with that.
Okay. Perfect. I think it would just, we'll put in our disclosures that there was a leak and that it was fixed. But I think it looks like it doesn't feel wet or anything like that. So I think we're good with just repainting the ceiling, make it all match one color type of thing. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, one, thanks for having me come over. I appreciate the opportunity. And we're here to do three things today. We're going to discuss your motivation. Where is it you want to go?
Well, I want to go further away from my adult children. They just come over way too often. So just putting distance between me and them.
Nice.
So far away, wherever that may be.
Wherever that may be. Are you planning on living in the state?
No, we're going to the Caribbean. I mean, really far away.
Really far away.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Are you going to buy? Caribbean, or you just?
We'll probably rent at first to give ourselves a chance to scout out the area and find out, where we really want to settle.
Okay, perfect. Well, one of the best things about Keller Williams is we are just not a brokerage in the area. We are a nationwide, worldwide brokerage. So I'll do some research and see if I can't get some people on your side for when you move over there, and so that you're not going in totally blind.
That would be.
Would that be
helpful.
all right?
Sure, yeah.
Perfect. How soon do you want to move to the Caribbean?
We're about 60 days out. You know, weather's gonna get bad here in Oregon, and 80 degrees sounds pretty nice.
Okay, perfect. It sounds great. Trust me, it sounds really great. 80 degrees, sunshine. So with 60 days out, when's your timeline to get your house listed?
Well, considering, you got to get it, or, somebody's got to get it on the market, get open houses going. I mean, yeah, I would think probably within the next 2 weeks, so we can get this process completed ideally before we're out the door.
Well, and a little bit about the market right now, we're looking at 30 to 45 days with the waiting periods for the appraisals, more likely 45 days.
Okay.
So you're right. Sooner is better than later. I've got a list of things to do to get your house ready, market ready day one. And then we're going to want to be market ready day one because we want to appeal to all buyers, right? Not just buyers that like the sponge painting on the wall.
Hey, the wife's really fond of that one.
So we want to appeal to all buyers, and I want to walk through this list, right? So we've discussed your motivation. Then we're going to talk about pricing, and then we're going to talk about whether or not I want to work with you or you want to work with me.
Fair enough.
How's that sound?
Hey, it sounds like we're getting down to business, and I like efficiency, so that works.
All right. So do you have any idea what your home is worth?
I mean, of course, I have a rough idea. I can go to Zillow in 60 seconds. It gives me a number. That tells me I'm somewhere around, 300,000.
300,000. Okay.
Yeah.
So around 300,000. The first thing, I'm glad you brought up Zillow. The first thing I'm going to have you do is go in and claim your house. I want you to claim your house on Zillow and make sure all of the information is correct.
What does that even mean? I've never heard of that.
You can actually go on, claim your home on Zillow, and then you can make adjustments to the bedrooms, the bath, square footage, lot size. You can even put in there what you love about your home.
Oh, all right.
Okay. So what that does is that will give us a competitive advantage.
How does that give us a competitive advantage by me going in there and making sure
We'll bring
everything?
the algorithms. We want the algorithms to get as high as we can so that we can determine a list price where we're going to get lots of activity.
Okay.
Fundamentally, in the mind of a buyer, if you are looking to purchase a computer, right? And it's a base model computer and it's $1,500, but then you've got another computer with a Bose system and a webcam, which for the same price, which one are you going to buy?
Oh, the one with the upgrades, of course.
Even though you don't need them, you're going to buy them, right? Because your perception is that's going to be a better deal. We want to give people the opportunity to come and, oh, there you went. There you are. Oh, way to switch it up.
It's trying to throw you off, man.
we want to give everybody the opportunity to come and perceive a good deal, right? 96% of people have a cell phone, a smartphone. All of those phones have apps, whether it's Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, Keller Williams, whatever you've got, 96% of people. And list price is going to determine of whether or not we're going to work with the 96% of people or the 4% of people. How does that sound?
That sounds fair enough.
Okay. So after you claim your listing, the algorithms will give it we'll see if it affects, right? Now, I'm not going to put too much weight on Zillow because after time, they do eventually change their estimate to list price. There's just an initial running. So fundamentally, when we talk about selling your house, if you want, say you want to put your house on the market at 320, okay? You've done some upgrades, it looks nice, presentation's going to be great. But if 3 times as many people use Zillow and the Zestimate's at 300 and you're on the market at 320, are you getting off your couch?
Yeah, probably not.
Okay.
Depends
Okay.
on how desperate I am.
Okay, and that's exactly it. So right now in our market, in your area, there's 112 that have gone active in the last 6 months. 49 have gone pending, ratio of 44.9%. That's a pending ratio. 19 have expired.
Oh, that's I'm surprised to hear that many haven't sold. I thought this was a hotter market.
1.1 months of inventory, right? But still, buyers have more tools at their fingertips, and we want to work with those tools. And when you don't work with those tools, you will wind up with an expired listing.
Gotcha. Makes
Okay,
sense
so
to
our
me.
job is to price it right at a price where we can bring in the most activity. List price will determine the activity. Activity will determine the sale price. So if your estimate's at 300, we list at 320. How many? You're not getting off your couch. How many other people do you think are going to get off their couch?
Well, sure. It's definitely going to limit our appeal.
Okay, so we're looking at about 300 on the price. It would be my steadfast. We can go as low as 275. We find that the market corrects itself. My job is to get you the highest price the market's going to bear in the quickest amount of time, especially with your time frame. We need to be pending within the first 2 weeks. So creating that sense of urgency, getting it on the market. I can have it on the market Thursday, open house it Saturday and Sunday, review offers on Tuesday. I think with what you've done to the place, it's great. It looks great. There's a couple things I'm going to ask you to do, but you'll have a couple days to do it. But we want to be market ready day one. How's that sound?
Well, I like that we can hit the ground running. Considering we're in a short timeline, that fits for me.
Okay. So does everybody kind of get an idea of what it is? I can make this a 45-minute spiel, right? But it's all about, it's asking the questions. What's his motivation? What's his price? How fast does he want to get there? And then we go into, hey, I noticed you started filling out the disclosures. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I mean, it's all pretty straightforward here. It talks about a plumbing issue, or, it has plumbing disclosure. And I got a question for you about something that occurred a few years back. But
Honestly, put that in there. Anything that's happened, put it in there. The more transparent you are, the better your buyers are going to feel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
And I'll help you. Well, I won't help you through it, but I'll be there to answer any questions.
Fair enough.
As obligated, we're gonna save time, right? We're gonna save time and money. So what I would like to do now, if you're still considering me, is walk through the house with you and find out what you loved about the house. What got you to buy it?
Sure.
So we're going to walk around the house, and that's when I'm going to put his list together. This is my marketing list.
The thing that really got the wife and I to buy it was that half bathroom that our grandmother could use for shooting her heroin. It was a really big selling point for us on this home. And once we saw that, we knew this was the one.
All right, I see you.
Nice. Comedy at its best.
Transparency,
Or
right?
at least to get too fast, right?
All right. That was
an aging one. Good
so
Lord.
then as we're walking through it, chances are at this point, you're going to learn more, right? As you walk through it with him, you may already know it may be a separation issue. It may be a divorce situation. It may be, I understand goes a long way, right? He wants to get away from his adult kids. Now, the other part, you can throw a real wrench into it and say the adult kid lives in the basement. Does the adult kid have landlord-tenant rights?
No, he gets evicted. He's behind on rent. It's all right.
Seriously.
Hey, so the one thing I would tell you this is practice find accountability partners and practice your listing presentation and your scripts. Everybody remember scripts, right? 8:20 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And real quick, I will give you the number. So I want my Zoom room. My Zoom room is 526-049-8196. And feel free. I don't care if you're from Central Oregon. I don't care if you're from Medford. I don't care if you're from Grants Pass. It is for the entire KW. If you are here, you are invited. Hopefully you get to learn something, as Eileen's been on there a couple of times too.
Look great.
It's with Zoom, it's not just about repeating the script 5 times. It's when are we going to use it? How are we going to use it? We've changed it up a little bit. This is called, what we do, Alicia, is scripts, where I teach it. It starts at 8:20 in the morning on my Zoom room. And I just gave you the number, 526-049-8196. But if you pop onto that, we go over scripts and we talk about what it is. It sounds kind of cheesy, but scripts, no actor goes in front of, the camera without practicing their scripts, right? Their lines. So we give people the tools to be able to go out and have conversations. Jessica, how have they helped you?
Oh, tremendously. I have gotten better at asking open-ended questions and I still have certainly a lot to learn, always learning, but I'm more comfortable with asking the questions versus just rambling, because I could just keep talking and it forces me to listen to what I'm saying and have control of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Did anybody notice in my listing presentation, was there one question about me?
Nope.
I controlled the conversation.
Mhm.
I asked the questions, right? So being able to ask those who ask the questions control the conversation. And we want open-ended questions, not yes or no answers. Bring them in emotionally to you and take them out of the emotion of selling their home. Now, obviously, Nassim didn't have any issues being attached to the home with memories of his kids, right? He wanted to get away from them. So, and take advantage. Yes, I know 8:20 is, it's Tuesday through Friday, 8:20. All you do is hit join, open up Zoom, hit join, and then type in my number, 526-049-8196. Okay? And that's Tuesday through Friday. There's 8:20. And if that's too early, I've added a 4 o'clock. Because I do understand a lot of us are homeschooling. Okay. We want to give you every opportunity to succeed, exceed your expectations, right? Create under promise and over deliver. And that's Tuesday through Friday. Okay. So as we prepare, so does anybody have any questions? Does everybody feel better about marketing a listing and being able to walk in? And being able to sell that listing?
Kind of.
Okay, so now at the end, actually that's funny. Eileen just Eileen, I love it.
Who is it?
I said, I love it too.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
How many people are in that picture?
I have to see the top of it. I can't see the top of it.
Elizabeth, go for it. If you would take a minute and fill out at the top of the chat is the forms for feedback.
Where?
If you could do that, that would be great.
Where is it?
The only way- it's the very first one on the chat. So go all the way to the top and it says forms. That will be the link. And that is the only way I get better is with criticism, right?
Is that on a Mac or is that something else? Sorry, I don't see it
I
on my
don't
chat.
see it either.
You don't see it?
On a Mac.
No, I don't have it.
Just a second here.
You can just put it in the.
I'm going to add it to it.
I think it's the Mac is different, maybe.
I did forget to share earlier this morning when we were talking about our victories or what we did over the weekend. I've been branching out on my social media and just trying to post a lot of like different stuff. And I've been making sure to include like at least just like my hashtag handle. And I had somebody reach out and I'm now doing a CMA for a property in the middle of a winery. So
nice.
I forgot about that.
Awesome.
Writing. So now I have to go and figure out how to do a CMA.
Cool.
That is awesome. How does that feel? So now are you over in, Alicia, are you in Bend?
Yeah, I live in Bend. I
you-
mean, I can service Redmond, Prineville, Madras. Madras is probably the extent because that's like 45, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lapine, Sun River, Sisters, all of it. Yeah, Keller Williams over here services all of Central Oregon.
Okay, so you're actually at the Keller Williams in Bend?
Yeah, well, so yes, we just got a new office, like a new market center. So yeah, we have a market center in Bend and in Redmond, and we just got a one opened up in Madras, and we're all under the Central Oregon. So y'all just have different like they're like satellite offices.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
just because we have agents spread so far out, that way they have a physical place to bring clients and they don't have to drive all the way into Bend.
Okay. That makes sense.
Mhm.
How long have you been doing real estate?
I got my license in December of last year. I've been with Keller Williams working in the office since May of 18.
Okay.
Nice.
So
Nice.
I'm a
Very
little
cool.
familiar. Yeah.
That's cool.
Very excited to do this whole changeover. So
Yeah. That's
You
great.
never know where there's so many opportunities within Keller Williams. You never know.
that's
You were told 2 years ago to the day, 2 years ago, I was in my Ignite class.
that's awesome.
Does anybody find that hard to believe?
That's
What'd you
and
say?
now you're like
incredible.
super instructor.
What'd you say, Matt? 2 years ago, what?
2 years ago, I was in Ignite for the first time.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. Congratulations.
You never know. Like I said, fail forward,
Feel forward.
fail forward. Fail means first attempt in learning.
This time last year, I was going through my first bold.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on staff going through it, so my mindset was a little different, but I was also studying for, I mean, I took my test to get my license in the middle of bold.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
it was really cool.
And Shonda Harris is the KW team over in Central Oregon also as well. Well, I got good news for Central Oregon.
So is Julie Mayers.
Julia's too?
Julie, yep, Julie, I think works out of our is that right, Julie? Redmond office?
I think she may have had to leave.
She's in our Redmond, she's more out of Redmond than Ben, but yeah, she's one of our,
Did everybody get the link, by the way?
yes, I did.
Okay. Central Oregon, I'm going to be over in Sun River from the 19th through, if anybody wants appointments or coaching or anything, I'm going to leave my number. I would be happy to help in any way.
That would be cool.
I have one quick question. I'm here in Central Oregon too, and thank you for all your great information. Hi, everyone. I noticed at the end of our listing presentation, just talk, we never really went over, like fees and things like that. I know we kind of ended it, if you want to work with me and I want to work with you, and that's great. Do you make that a big talking point, or do you just state, I think my favorite line I learned in an Ignite class was, my fee is 3%. We can negotiate on the buyer's agent fee. I kind of liked that line. What's your recommendation, or how do you
Break it
tackle
down.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, break it down. The farther you can break it down, a lot of it is they don't understand it. Well, if you just tell them, hey, my fee is 6%, or whatever your fee is. Hey, you're a recommendation from a family referral. I have a 5% program, right? And that's 2.5 and 2.5. Okay.
Awesome.
You get to break it down however you want. Okay. Know that your services, you're going to work harder the more money you get, right? So one of the things that I do is being able to, let me try this again. One of the things that I do is I break it down. Hey, these are my fees. I charge a 3% professional fee, and that 3% it gets split with Keller Williams Sunset Corridor. So break it down for them, right? And then whatever you decide to negotiate on the buyer side depends on where we are in the showings. So if you charge less, the average rate right now is 2.5%. You can go with that. If you go lower than that, it just means everybody else's house is going to be shown first. Like you, you're going to go where the most money is. And buyer's agents tend to work that way, right? Not to mention the buyer's agent has to split it with his or her brokerage also. So it's actually being divided 4 ways.
Got it.
So, yeah, so you can break it down as much as you can. Okay, so when it's all said and done, it looks like a lot and it feels like a lot, but it's when you break it down, it's not really. Plus, then you have the marketing on top of it, right?
Absolutely.
Professional photography. I find that I don't ever get asked commissions if I provide my value.
Okay. I think that's the best way to look at it. And how, if you don't mind me asking, I do think it's, we provide a very valuable service. How often do you discount your service? Is that something for good family and friends? And is that about it? Or
family and friends? I have different, what I've learned at KW in 2 years is I have different, what do you call it? Different scales. So standard, right, is for me, I have a 3% professional fee and then a 2.5%. Let's just see here. Real quick here. Sorry, I got interrupted. Dude. Getting everybody or so that question again, sorry, I got interrupted, but when you talk about the fee, right? My standard is 3% for a professional fee and then 2.5. So I'm already saving them 0.5%, but I'm still getting what I feel is a good rate of return. If it's doing any work for lawyers and whatnot, then it's 6%. If it's a probate situation where I have to empty the house and bring in a cleaning and bring in all that, then it's, maybe it's getting rid of a house full of stuff. Maybe it's doing yard work and getting the yard done. Then it's a 7%.
Awesome. Thank you for your help.
Does that help? And just tell them.
Yeah, big time.
So one of the things that I do is like, okay, here's my marketing. And I set up the marketing and say, this is what I'm going to do, right? This is what I'm going to do. And if they ask for a discount, I can turn it into the easiest way to go against it is, which services would you not like me to provide for a discounted price?
That's a good one.
Okay. So that's a great one. And the other one is, well, like you, the motivation is there when I'm going to make the most amount of money. I've even tapered a listing to where if we listed at 400 and got 425, my percentage went up based on the offers that came in.
Cool. It just sounds like, like leading the conversation, that just needs to be part of it again, where you lead the conversation, and hopefully there's not much of a conversation about that.
No, there's times where I've walked out and been like, well, okay, they didn't even ask.
Yep, totally. Yep. Cool. Well, thank you so much. That was great.
And one of the things that I will also tell you is, the other thing that I do is, look, so what I'm hearing is that if your boss asked you to come in and do your services for less money, you would do that?
Yeah, definitely.
Put it in, they don't realize, they're just looking out, and the main goal is what? They want to net the most amount of money. And then I just reassure them, hey, I'm here to work with you to get you the highest price the market's going to bear in the quickest amount of time.
Awesome. And then, there's always those cases too where you just might not want to work with someone. And I think you have to accept that and know when to walk away. So I had a little heartbreak. I had someone that I knew really well go to a discount brokerage, and God, it broke my heart. But, looking into it, they were, seriously financially in a lot of trouble. So it was one of those, it just wasn't meant to be. So
I walked away from one because I told them, and you can find realtors who are going to say yes to everything. I pulled comps on this property. I told her I would put it on the market at 575 with the hopes of driving the price up to, 580, 590, 95, to 600, right? She had a developer come in 2 years ago and tell her that he would pay $715 for it, for the property. And I said, do you have his name? I will be happy to give him a call right now.
yeah.
And of course she didn't have his name, and she found an agent who listed at 725.
Wow.
Back in March. It still hasn't closed, and we're in November, and the price is dropped all the way from 725 down to 599.
Wow.
Do you reach out to her at that point and say something and just be like, hey, I see that your house is still on the market. Are you interested in talking and seeing how I can help you get your house sold? Would you do that, or would
only when it's expired? Only when it's expired. I don't like attorneys. I mean, I love them when they're sending me business, but I don't like having to hire them. Right? If that makes sense. If they have an agent, you got to respect that. Okay. I have a watch list on it. Now I bet she got somewhere around 575. But she could have put it at 575 the first weekend and been on her way to Georgia by now. So it's all about their motivation. What is their motivation and how fast you want to get there? And feel free to turn it around on them. Turn it around, and when we talk about those commissions, and by the way, we do go over in our scripts, we do go over objections. Last week's objections was exactly, seller's objections. Commissions is one of them. Right? It's a lot of fun. I mean, this job is supposed to be fun, but when we turn the questions around, and what we've turned scripts into is buyers and sellers, they're now turning around and, hey, you're the agent, I'm not the agent, you're my customer, but now they're asking the open-ended questions. And that's what it comes down to, is asking. We're investigators. We're trying to figure out what's going on with the house, with them. Why do they want to sell? How do they want to sell? We're private investigators. It's an interesting way to look at it, but we wear a lot of hats. Sometimes we're marriage counselors. Sometimes when the husband says he wants to list for 25,000, 25,000 more than your agreed to list price, because he wants to get the most amount of money, and you have this, we can do that, but we're going to go through it with reductions. But then 3 weeks into it, you have to have the conversation with the wife that says, hey, I just want you to know that we need to reduce our price. We're not getting any, we haven't had any showings in 10 days. The market's telling us we're overpriced. And you have to have these fierce conversations with them. These fierce conversations are fantastic because it sets you as the professional. If you say yes to everything, they should just put a FSBO sign in the yard and call it good. Okay, so being able to have those conversations. Hey, I know your husband wanted all of the 25,000 more. Honestly, we're not getting it. We haven't had a showing in 10 days. I need you to have a conversation with him and ask him why he doesn't want to sell. This is between you guys. And she was like, well, no, he knows he's got to move. And I'm like, no, only time I've ever seen this is when somebody doesn't want to move and doesn't want to have the conversation with their wife. So being able to do that is awesome. You know, it's great, right? So, but I gotta say, I love that we have people from Bend on here also in the Ignite. So welcome. That's awesome. And I think that's great. So any other questions? You've got me for about 4 minutes, according to my calendar.
I don't have any questions, but I have to say it's nice seeing other agents from other market centers and interacting because we are limited over here in Bend. Not
How'd you
getting
guys-
a lot of collaborative stuff, so it's really cool. So
How did you guys find out about the Ignite and sign up for it?
I found out through Janine, our like interim team leader, and I think that's because we're having Mara do our PC program. That's my knowledge.
Oh, okay. So
It was on my intranet calendar. Like,
I did not know it expanded to Bend, and I love it. It's one of my favorite places to go.
yay.
So it like I said, and we are better together. And that's one of the things I would say about Keller Williams. We're better together.
And I have two friends who are considering working on getting their real estate licenses. So I've been talking to them about Keller Williams, and they're both in Eugene, Albany area. So it'll be great to have people to connect them to if they have questions also.
Awesome. Yeah. And the productivity program's getting back to where it once was. So I'm honored. I'm privileged to do what I do. I get to teach some great minds, and we all learn and grow at different paces. When you do Bold, when you do Ignite, it's all there. It's all readily available. And I spent my first 3 months Ignite and Bold, and I didn't have a single transaction. And in the next 9 months, I more than doubled my production from my other company. And not only that, as I give back, I love helping. I don't ever want a new agent to feel like they don't have somewhere to go, somebody to talk with, somebody to explore. So I do mean it. Jessica, when have I ever not answered your phone?
That hasn't happened.
By all intents and purposes, it won't. I have a passion for this, and I love seeing people succeed. Patience is a virtue, and maybe it takes 2 months to get that one, but that one is going to lead to 3, 4, 5, and 6 like that. Okay. we are in an unusual time. I've never seen a market like this. What a common objection you're going to get right now is what? Well, you don't have to do anything. There's only 1 month of inventory. It's going to sell on the first weekend. How much marketing you got to do? We're going to hear that, right? So anyway, I appreciate everybody. If you have any questions, you've got my number. And the next class is Wednesday. And I think that's being taught by Devin. Actually, there is a class tomorrow. And that is, I don't know what the class is tomorrow. I don't have it in front of me. But I will tell you, it's Win the Buyer on Wednesday, 1 to 4. That's part of the Ignite curriculum. Winning the buyer is awesome. All right. Everybody, have fun. Enjoy. Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Can I ask you a quick question while
Yes.
everybody jumps off? It's about a contract.
Yes.
I have an offer that's being rejected, but the buyers also sent in an agreement to occupy after closing. Since we're rejecting the offer, do they not have to initial the bottoms of the agreement?
Since they're rejecting the offer, no,
Mhm.
usually it's just the one line that says, we're going to reject it. And then that makes it all,
All other paperwork's null and void and not worried about.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And it depends. Under promise, over deliver.
Mhm.
Is it reassuring if you send it back? It shows that you presented it, right? They presented it.
Mhm.
A lot of listing agents have little to do with getting the offers, the rejected offers back, because they're backlogged with 10, 15 offers,
Yeah.
right? What's the market like over in Bend?
We have a lot of multiple offers. We're having a lot of over asking price, cash offers, inventories tight. Things are going within like a week. Like I was working for an agent and both houses that he listed, that first open house, we had 3 offers. We'll get a lot of people coming up and they just do video walkthroughs. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Video is the way to go. And let me tell you, sending a video out saying you're looking to hold somebody's house open will get you a long way. And the Keller Williams, like in the Facebook,
I need to start doing that.
and you got 15 seconds to capture their attention. If you want, they're making a list too. Who do they want? Who's their go-to to hold their houses open?
Yeah. Who's going to do the best job?
Who's going to do the best job?
Yeah.
When you think outside the box. So I'll dive into the food truck. What I did some research in the area. It was an area where this company or this restaurant was in the area for 40 years. They just moved 2 years prior. They moved to the other side of town due to family fight, squabble, and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So they closed the restaurant down on the west side, went to the east side. Then they turned around and came back through, and they opened a food truck. And I saw that they opened a food truck. At the same time, I was going to a listing appointment in the area, and I called up the manager and said, "Hey, you take your food truck everywhere." I said, "I'm a realtor, and I would love to have you come back into your old stomping grounds. What would that look like?" And so we devised a plan, and it was originally going to be $750 a plate. And we had a minimum of 35 because it was January.
Mm-hmm.
Minimum of 35 at $750 a plate. But when he was done, he got 3 catering gigs and a wedding. We talk about reciprocal business. $750 the 750 went down to 250. 50 people bought food. So I had to buy food for 50 people. 90 people went through the open house, and we got one offer on the place at 17 over.
Wow.
And that was for an attorney. Right? That was for an attorney. So that attorney, guess who's his go-to on his listings? Me.
Matt. That's awesome.
And those are the things that we talk about, right? Is having that when they see you go above and beyond, when they bring it up.
When they talk about it to their people in their sphere, and they're like, how awesome is that they did that?
You want to know the funny part about this attorney? He runs the Legal Shield for Oregon. Other attorneys are now calling.
Way to go. That's amazing. Way to get your name out there.
Yeah. So when we talk about it, it's like, okay, how do you set yourself apart? Okay. Now, to all intents and purposes, building that, starting with that one idea. And even if you go to the solicitations, the no solicitation signs, and you're door knocking, you're inviting them too. So as they're hostile on the other side, say, look, hey, Matt Greek's coming back to the neighborhood. I thought you might want to know. Wait, what? So a neighborhood icon, which was called the Mad Greek Deli, had a food truck, and I brought him back. And I said, I just thought you'd like to know.
So it turns your contact into non-soliciting because you're just sharing.
You're inviting.
Yeah.
I'm inviting you to my barbecue. I'm inviting you, right? So you've got it. All right. Everybody, it's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And you all have my number. Reach out with a text so I can add you to my phone too. And
Thanks.
Ben, I will reach out I'll be there on the 19th. Give me a day to settle in, recover from some drinks, but maybe that Monday or Tuesday. So,
Perfect. Awesome.
all right. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.